Today on the show, hey guys, it's me, Spencer. I'm sure you got the email, but Spenpai is actually going to be taking a short break for the foreseeable future. He is in several mandatory trainings after some incidents that happened among staff, associates, etc. One of our employees was actually uncomfortable with the way Spenpai was talking about him. And so, yeah, we had to escalate it to HR. But yeah, so I'm just going to be doing this one for, I don't know, a couple weeks, I think, but it should be okay. But let's, it's going to be fun. It's anime, it's Spencer, it's Kevin, it'll be good. So, okay. Probably a bit too much up top, but okay. We're starting today on the show. We're talking cat ears, dad fears, and baseball beers. I mean, Spenpai's better. You get it. We're working with it. The show must go on, right? Haha. That's all today on Anime Binge Club. Hit the theme. Orange no smile, Sponge no pride, burasakete spider, 生きとったその予感は隠さなくたったいんで祈るすいた夢みたいな Yeah, why don't you think star 心の声で散々中の方に歌い続けたグリンジのハモスター大人びてリベンジのラブルスター引き据えてスナイパー縁取ったその世界に何が見えるっていうんだ狙う前に座りたいな Yeah, why don't you think star 君を探して禁断症状中嘘をついた Why don't you think star 心の声で散々中の方に歌い続けた Yeah Oh yeah
You are muted, Spencer.
Podcast that forces you to unmute yourself before you could talk. That's right. We're the only podcast. What's up? Okay. What's funny about that intro is even if you heard it, it was still fumbled. So, no reason taking it back. But yeah, we're the podcast that does anime and forces you to, forcing. I don't know how much we should be forcing people in 2026, huh?
I mean, consent is important, but I feel like this is sort of an opt-in form of media. Like, we're not doing like a Clockwork Orange kind of thing where we're making people like force their eyes open to watch this. So I think we're safe.
Yeah, we're safe. That happens. We're safe. All right, folks. Kevin muted his mic so he could cough, but it's time for the show to start. I don't know, man. I feel like I want to talk about some stuff that happened, but like normal stuff, life stuff that I normally don't talk about, but I probably shouldn't talk about all of it. Let's see. Pussyfoot and Changs. Okay. I got to delete that. I think, that bit's getting stale, huh? Okay. So I cut my thumb. We didn't really talk about that much, but I sliced my thumb open while I was cutting chicken, and it was really unsettling because like I was using a paring knife for like vegetable, like for peeling vegetables and stuff, like not like a great knife for cutting chicken, but whenever I cut chicken in this way, which is I get a rotisserie chicken from Costco, I'll tear it apart and I'll be cutting it into little chunks with this paring knife. I just always do it that way. I don't know, but and I think I've cut myself doing it that way before, so I gotta stop doing that. But I was cutting and it just like you can feel it's not a super sharp knife and you can feel it kind of like breaking through each of the stringy fibers of the chicken, and it feels kind of weird and it's like it feels kind of gross. And I'm like cutting and then I just slice through my thumb and it like I'm like it feels the same. Like it feels just like cutting through and of course because it's meat, right? It's human meat, it's chicken meat, it's all meat. But like that feeling of just into the tissue, and then into my thumb. It's just like feeling the resistance as my hand is holding the blade and pushing it into my flesh, Kevin. Feeling the resistance that my flesh is pushing on the blade with. That feeling in my blade holding hand. That's what was really seared into my memory as I was slicing through my thumb, Kevin. And I was in the ER just thinking about it, just like over and over, replaying that in my head, slice, and just like getting squeamish, and I'll just be driving or I'll just be at work, just thinking slice, and it's just like God damn, just like this horrible like feeling, and that was probably the worst part of the whole situation. Of like my thumb is like okay, it looks better than freaking Donald Trump's ear. But my thumb's okay now. I probably didn't need to go to the ER. It just was bleeding a lot. And it was like, it's on the very tip of my thumb, but I sliced more than half the way through it, if that makes sense. So like the cut was deep, but it was deep on the shallow part of my thumb. So I was like, well, is it a deep cut or a shallow cut? Because it was both, and if it was just one or just the other, I think I would have been like, okay, I definitely need to go to the hospital or I don't. But because it was like both of them, I was like, man, I don't fucking know. I guess I'll go and show it to someone. And if they're like, you need stitches, I'll be like, great. If they're like, you can go home, I'll be like, great. And hopefully they won't charge me $5 million. So I did, and they glued it together and it was fine. It was really great. It was, I was in and out in less than 90 minutes in a pretty busy ER, on like a Saturday night, Friday night, something like that. So my in and out time was pretty good. I think it's like, they didn't have to do that much. They didn't have to diagnose me or anything. They just put some glue on my thumb, basically. So it all happened pretty fast, but I was happy with how how fast I got in and out of there. And yeah, it was all good. And then no more ER. Done with the ER. Right, Kevin?
Yes, forever.
Wrong, because then I got the goddamn shingles, Kevin.
So walk me through your shingles journey. You messaged me the other day and said that. So
yeah, so we talked on the last podcast when I was going absolutely batshit insane. I was having an episode last episode, and I think the audience could tell because no one's commenting on it on Reddit, no one's commenting on it on the YouTube. There's no views. Everyone politely allowed me to have my privacy during that time.
Yes,
which I appreciate, but. One of the things I was spiraling out about, Kevin, was something I didn't really talk about because I went on. Here's the headline, Kevin. I went on a date so bad I got the shingles. That's the headline. Now, the thing I didn't talk about last week was that date, and I say date. It's a better headline. I'm a guy who cares about the headlines. What really happened? It wasn't a date. It was like it was a platonic. Friend gathering, getting lunch with a friend, but it was just so awkward, and I was just like, I don't know how to live after this. I don't know what's happening, and after that point, I was just like literally spiraling for like days. I think it was like 3 days straight. I was spiraling, and then like day 3 was when we did the podcast. And also day 3 was the day my first shingles symptoms showed up. So I literally think I literally think it was so bad that I got the shingles because shingles is caused by stress. Now, if you don't know, shingles is if you get the chicken pox is caused by a virus called herpes zoster virus, I believe, and it's a herpes virus which it stays in your system like herpes does, and so you get the chicken pox, but the virus stays in your cells, and then later on. Again, like herpes, where herpes outbreaks, if you have like an immune compromised situation, if you're under serious stress, if you don't eat very much, if you exercise too much, sometimes they can flare up. But there's all sorts of like strain based flare ups for herpes, and shingles can be kind of like that too. But when shingles flares up, it inflames the nerve tissues on one side of your body. Apparently, it picks one side and only is on that side, and then it just lights your nerves on fire, and so you just get all these patches of super sensitivity, body aches akin to the flu, burning or stabbing pains to various parts of your body. The most unsettling part of it right now is one of my pains is like on the inside of my chest, where I would imagine a heart attack would feel, but it very consistently is like this kind of shingles pain. But I'm in a lot of pain. It's not as bad as it could be. I've seen pictures of shingles that looks really, really, really bad, and it's not that bad. Sometimes people get in their eye and they go permanently fucking blind, or it can leave you with permanent nerve damage or nerve pain, where you just have this intermittent pain in your nerves just forever. So not good. Apparently, there's a fucking shingles vaccine. I didn't know about that. I would have taken that if I knew it. So go get shingles vaccine, guys. Especially if you've gotten chickenpox. There's also a chickenpox vaccine. I don't think there was a chickenpox vaccine when I was a kid. You get the chickenpox vaccine, Kevin?
No, it did not exist when I was a kid.
Right. And then you get it, so you don't need it afterwards. But if you
Yeah.
get it, they should give you a shingles vaccine. Oh, whatever. I don't understand. It's all whatever. But I'm in a lot of pain. It's not good. It's okay. I I got a doctor's note from the ER. Oh, did I say I went to the ER? Oh, yeah, yeah. That's the thing. So I was in a lot of pain. I didn't know what was happening, and then I started getting these little rashes where you could Google the shingles rash, and I thought it was scabies because when I was a kid, we had this kid who was having a tough time stay over. He lived with us for a while, and he was sleeping on the floor, and he got shingles too. And but they thought it was like flea bites for a while because we didn't know what it was, but it turned out to be shingles. And then so from then on, I like knew what shingles was and I knew what it was, but I got it mixed up with scabies. So I like Googled scabies and I was like, okay, I don't have scabies, but I didn't realize it was shingles. And so I couldn't figure out what my deal was. And I eventually like put it online and I was like, someone tell me what's happening. I'm not going to go to the hospital, because when you go online and say what's going to happen, they're always just like, go to the hospital, you know? And then someone was like, that's shingles. And I was like, oh, fuck, I got it mixed up with scabies. I knew it was something with an S. And then so someone said shingles, and I was like, oh, God. And then I looked it up, and it's like, you want to get treated within 3 days. And I was like, I think it's been about 3 days. And it was late at night. And I was like, I'll probably try and go to urgent care in the morning. But I was looking it up, and it's like, better get treated within 3 days. And I'm like right on the edge of 3 days. So I was like, I'm just going to go to the fucking ER again. I go in, and there, and like within 15 minutes, I'm out. And they just, they call me in. They're like, pull up your shirt. They look at my shirt. They were like, why are you here? I was like, I think I have shingles. They're like, pull up your shirt. I pull up my shirt. They're like, that's shingles. And I was like, hell yeah, we nailed it. And she gave me a prescription. I walked out of there. I went to the pharmacy. I got the drugs, and I am taking drugs. And yeah, I got a doctor's note. So I think I can skip work next week because shingles can technically be contagious. I don't really know. I don't know. I think it's not shingles contagious. It can spread chickenpox. So I think I have a good excuse to stay home from work. I'm in a lot of pain. It does. Apparently it's sunlight sensitive somehow. Like shingles is sunlight sensitive, which I think for a while I was staying inside and I wasn't like none of the sores. I wasn't getting more of these rashes or whatever, but love to talk about rashes on a podcast. Huh? But then yesterday I went out a fair amount. I ran a bunch of errands. And then I got a bunch more sores from being outside. And so I was like, I think the sunlight is like making it worse. And so I'm like, I'm just going to try and stay home from work. I got a doctor's note. I'm going to try and skip a week of work, see if I can. Which, it's fun. I've just been watching anime and playing video games, Kevin. Isn't that fun?
It is, yeah. And it's weird too, because again, not to get like gross with rash stories, but 2 weeks ago I flew to Vegas And immediately after getting there, I had a rash all over like half my body.
Hmm.
And I was convinced it had to be shingles. So I went to urgent care,
Uh-huh.
who told me, no, that's just you're allergic to something. Did you change laundry detergent recently? And I said, yes. And they said, that's it. Don't use that detergent anymore.
That was
And
my
then,
first thought is I like rewashed my sheets and like double rinse them and stuff because I was like, sometimes if there's too much soap and it doesn't rinse out all the way, I'll get some irritation. That's what I thought. And also, I had like just kind of like a red flush like on Monday. And so I was like, what the fuck is this? It didn't even look like shingles. It looked probably more like what you were talking about. And then the shingle spots showed up. Anyway, is there more to your story?
no, I think it's really funny. I thought I had shingles and didn't. And then like two
And I
weeks
thought I had
later,
scabies.
yeah. And then you had shingles. Yeah,
Yeah. Wow. We're quite a pair, aren't we, Kevin?
we are. We are.
Yeah. But like I said, I've just been lounging around and watching anime. I've been watching Beastars on Netflix. Kevin, Beastars is anime for furries. It's about a wolf man who goes to it's like an animal world where everyone's like animal bipeds, and like carnivores and herbivores live in harmony, but they don't because carnivores are always eating and killing and eating the herbivores, but they have to go to school together. And so yeah, it kind of is about this wolf is like he is almost going to eat this rabbit and then he falls in love with the rabbit and he's like, oh, do I want to, sleep with her or do I want to eat her, and it's very bizarre. It's a very strange anime. Second season is about like gang turf war stuff, and the third season's about like this like drug operation and stuff. It's a pretty crazy anime. It's really interesting. It's it's weird because it's constantly about like, is it okay for herbivores and carnivores to get along? And carnivores naturally want to kill animals and eat them. And is that okay? Is that their nature? Is it okay that it's their nature? Should we stop them from doing that, etc.? And, I don't know. It's weird because like the strongest metaphor is probably like males and females. And then it's like, about like violence or abuse or even like rape and stuff. I guess, I don't know. Is kind of like one of the baseline readings of it. But then it also is constantly getting into stuff that's more like about the species and about this animal's like this. And so it's kind of like race. So it's kind of like mixed as whether it's trying to be like a metaphor for race or gender or whatever. But it does seem stronger about like the differences between men and women are like exemplified by like carnivores and herbivores. And like it's always about like this carnivore is eating the herbivore, and the carnivores, there's female carnivores, but I don't think the show ever really depicts like a male carnivore eating an herbivore, or depicts a female. Sorry, it's always a male doing the eating. So like it does feel like it's like rapey, and if you're examining that, it's like we're just dancing around the idea like, oh, guys are just like this or whatever, or maybe it's not, maybe it's other gender traits that they're trying to talk around, but it just gets kind of weird. I don't know, but it is a cool anime. It's fun. Anime's good. Then I started watching Orb on the Movements of Earth, Kevin, which is an anime about fucking heliocentrism.
Okay,
The
okay.
model that the sun's the center of the universe. It's like it's in the Galileo's times, and it's like astronomers are always being purged by the Church Inquisition for like defying the Bible by saying like maybe the sun is in the center of the universe instead of Earth, and so it's just like astrologers being like, holy shit, retrograde motion doesn't make any fucking sense. What does this mean? And they're like, why do you question God's perfect universe? And they're like, because I think God's perfect universe is so perfect it wouldn't be fucked up and don't make sense, just like retrograde stuff. So I think it's a wrong model. And I think the God's truth is actually heliocentrism. And so people are constantly getting executed, and everyone's just, it's over and over. It's just like, I gotta find the stars. And then it's like, you're looking at the stars, you're under arrest. And they're like, I wasn't looking at the stars, I swear to God. And they're like, you're under arrest, just admit you were looking at the stars. And they're like, the stars are important. And they're like, he is admitting it. And then they kill him. And it's just like, it's such a weird, it's like so high stakes for the idea of just like the heliocentrism. I don't know. It's kind of cool. But it's very, I don't know. It's both of these animes exemplify this idea where it's like it gives the impression of this guy who's like obsessed with this thing and thinks the whole world can be understood in terms of this thing. And so the whole anime is just everyone arguing back and forth about it. And it doesn't matter. It's like whether it's okay for animals to eat each other or not, or whether it's heliocentrism. It's just everyone's going to beat the shit out of each other in service of, this ideal or the opposite of it. It's awesome. Anime fucking rocks, Kevin. That's why we're doing the podcast. Right?
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I'm I love, I think, hearing you describe anime as much as I enjoy watching it, because it's like getting the pleasure that you get from it through you directly, and that's
Uh-huh.
very comforting.
Well, I'm sure I translated a lot. It's like you don't have to watch the whole thing. I got good news for you, Kevin, because that's the whole podcast. It's
Yeah.
just that's the whole thing. Um, that actually is like there probably is a kind of content that's just a guy describing stuff he watched. you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it's this kind of content, in fact.
I think we've hit that, and we're doing pretty well with that.
Yeah, definitely. So let's get into the episode. Do you want to talk about FLCL, Kevin? Just so you've been confused. I assume everything makes sense now. Um, but do you have any? Well, just give me your impressions.
Okay, I mean, it's still completely chaotic. So this is us watching episodes 3 and 4. It's starting to form a coherent plot, at least at this point, where before episodes 1 and 2 seemed like it was mostly just things happening at random. Now, some of that's starting to be explained, but it's maintaining, if not accelerating, the level of chaos that's happening throughout the episodes. At least for my impression. It
Yeah.
still does sort of have a dreamlike feel, but it's like at least starting to make some kind of sense where I can see a plot.
Yeah, and you're also seeing the formula now. I think like the structure is clear. We have the setup, we get some characters, some new characters in their dramas, and then it builds up into some big combat. It's like it's a pretty simple structure. But it's good. I don't know. But yeah, it's confusing. It's gaining steam. We're starting to put more pieces together. It's all vague and confusing though. But yeah, I don't know. There are things you do like, you don't like, things that are I don't know, any major sticking points or things that you wish were different, you know?
Um, no, I don't think I would change anything about this so far. I mean, it's really going to come down to how the final 2 episodes tie this together, if they do or not. I
Mm-hmm.
think the only way I would be disappointed in this is if it just ends leaving even more questions than have been answered.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I kind of don't mind that, But I don't know. I wouldn't change this because I'm enjoying the crazy ride that we're on, where
Mm-hmm.
nothing kind of makes sense, but at the same time, the patterns, like you said, are starting to become apparent, and it's becoming like a comforting. Okay, we're going to do this again now. Okay, that's fine.
And
You
isn't that
know.
just like life, Kevin? And isn't that just like what growing up is like and adolescence as well?
Yes, yes, it is, and that's. I think a lot of this, maybe I'm changing my take of this is not so much as this being like a dream, but this is more like when you're a teenager trying to navigate the adult world and things just happen to you. Like you don't have enough agency to control your life. You're just reacting to external events still.
And it's
And that's
messy and
kind of what some of
insane.
this feels like now.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's nothing goes the way you want it to. Everything seems way more dramatic than it actually is. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
can feel through the characters that like they're living through life not necessarily liking everything going on, and that's kind of how I felt as a teenager too. Like things just happened, and you had to deal with it whether you like those things or not. And that's sort of the feel that seems to be happening here.
Yeah, definitely. Kevin, I just want to check something. It seems like we might have developed a strong delay. Can you respond?
Yeah, something froze for a moment, and Zoom is
Okay.
catching up. I can see that it's slowly like rebuffering now, so we're catching up.
All right, so hopefully AI can fix these delays if they keep happening. But yeah, that's fine. It's just I noticed a big gap, and I was like, that wasn't happening before. But let's make a bigger deal of it, I think. Okay, so episode three. What's the situation with episode three? Episode three revolves around Nina Mori's family drama and a high school, or they're I think they're in middle school. Their middle school play, their musical show production. Naota wants to do it, or now Naota doesn't want to do it. Nina Mori wants him to do it, and that friction causes another robot to show up, and there's combat, and so that's the broad strokes of that episode. But yeah, well, you have any thoughts about? Okay, let's talk characters. What do you think of? What you have any favorite characters, least favorite characters? What are you thinking about Haruko? Nina Mori.
I like that they're becoming developed a little bit more now, and it seems less like just random things happening and their personality starting to show through a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's starting to feel like a more developed kind of show a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I really like how arch all the characters are. I think like Naota is like he's a lot like Shinji, but he's kind of like cranked up a bit more. He's also more relatable, I think, just because like it feels more normal, but also everyone around him is more annoying. And you're also just like, God damn it, can he catch a fucking, can everybody just leave him alone? So I feel like he's more relatable than Shinji is. Haruko's just like an awesome character. I think Mamimi's a lot of fun. His dad's a lot of fun. The grandpa's a lot of fun. The teacher is pretty cool. She does a lot in the third episode, right? Yeah, the third episode, not the fourth. But she's in a lot and she's fun. I think Nina Mori is a cool character. She's a little bit like Asuka, I would say. But yeah, I don't know. I just think the characters are a lot of fun. There's also his Naota's like stupid friends. There's like the long-haired one and then the pervy one. He keeps going like smooch, smooch, and he said that before too. But like that kid is like funny in this episode. He's like wearing a rat costume, but it's just I don't know. It's a lot of fun. Oh, okay.
I
Go ahead.
noticed too, but I think probably more in episode four than three, but there were some pretty strong parallels with Eva and him. Like there were some shots where it was just like this could have been replaced by Shinji right here, and this would have made complete sense.
Yeah, and there's kind of more mindfucky bits in episode four too. Like where reality really is breaking down, I think, Um, and things get kind of out of sequence a little bit. So yeah, I think that the fourth episode definitely has stronger kind of Eva vibes, but go ahead.
No, 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 go. Keep going.
Oh, I thought okay. Everybody loves Spencer's podcast. The
They do.
podcast with Spencer. What?
I said they do love it. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now I can't hear you anymore. Okay. So we start Nina Mori is in the car with her secretary. She's kind of being level-headed. She's like being mature about her parents' divorce. The secretary is talking about the situation. Basically, the situation is their parents are getting a divorce. The secretary slept over at the house, which implies that like she's having an affair with Nina Mori's dad. But it's not super clear. I don't think it ever gets lined up, but there's a couple lines that kind of make it sound like that's the actual scandal. And I think the way it presents her, like the way she's putting on her lipstick and stuff, and like being kind of this glamorous woman, I think that's kind of the implication you're supposed to take. But the secretary is saying like, hey, you don't have to worry about it. I'm not going to do anything to hurt your parents. And she's like, I don't care. It's his fault. It has nothing to do with me, but she's just playing it cool. We hear that, she's got the lead role in the school play. I think that's like the line she says to the secretary before that scene ends. Then we go back to Naota. Naota's room is dirty. He goes talks to Haruko. He's like, what's going on? And she's mostly ignoring him, but she mentions Monchan, which is his dad. His dad's name is Kamon, so that's the last syllable of his name is being shortened, kind of. So, it's kind of like what do you call it? Affectionate nickname, maybe. And it's like a funny scene, or it's like a funny bit because you see like this sign shows up and it has his dad's like cartoon face on it. And it says, I think, Monchan on it. and he's like glaring at it, and like he like knocks it away, or it like flies away, and he like glares at it while it's leaving. And it's just, I don't know, it's just visually funny. The whole, it's so great animation wise, like it just looks so gorgeous. There's so much visual humor like that. It's just so fun. um and then she also sets up that Monchan he's been making these zines, these periodicals. And we don't see it because the way the shots are, but Haruko starts playing with Naota's cat ears, but we don't see it because it hasn't revealed that those are his ears, but she's talking about them. And then she also mentions they're eating curry for dinner. And so like almost everything that happens in this episode is set up here. There's the affair, Nina Mori, the having the lead role, the divorce, the cat ears, the curry, the magazines, like all of those pieces get laid out like within like 2 minutes or something, and then it's just bat. They all come back. It's really cool, and I was like, damn, like that's good. I don't know. I was watching this episode from a writing perspective and like thinking about a script that I wrote recently, and I was like, yeah, my writing sucks. Like the way like they set up the scene with like, the teacher is like talking about cats or whatever. And it just, it pipes this information about cats, the idea that cats are in the air. It explains the teacher's deal a little bit. It characterizes her. It kind of gives the two friends something to do while they bring up the magazine. And you get all their characterizations. It's visual. It's funny. And like every scene, it sets the table. It lets characters do stuff. It moves the plot forward. It's funny. And it's like, it's really tight storytelling. It's like really well done. Anyway, so Naota, he's late for rehearsal. He plays a talking cat. We hear that cats love when you rub their ears. That's what the teacher is talking about. The teacher is giving a lesson on cats, which is stupid, but it's plot. But yeah, the kids are talking about this zine, and they're saying it's coming out, and they're looking at it, and it looks like they're looking at like dirty magazine pictures or whatever, like it's a porno, but it turns out it's the zine that his dad's making. So I think it's covering the scandal. So I guess it's like photos of the affair, something like that. Like it's his dad. It's Nina Mori's dad fucking the secretary or something, because they're scandalized by looking at it. And then the teacher finds it and she's scandalized. So, and that's the drama that Nina Mori's caught in. They're talking, so they're being hush hush about it. Like the one kid shows it to Naota, and they're like whispering about it. And then you see in the shot the weird kid, he like zooms in. He's like, okay, they got it at a convenience store. The one, it sells Crystal Pepsi. And like that kid's like yelling, and then it cuts, and you can see he's like, he has 1 foot in his desk, and he's like stretched out past like 2 other students' desks to like butt in on the conversation they're having. So they're like whispering, and he's like stretched across 3 desks and yelling about Crystal Pepsi. And that's what prompts like the teacher to show up. And I just thought it's just so funny. And again, it sets up this kid as being like just a piece of shit. This little, this smooch kid. I don't know what his name is, but he's so annoying, but it's really funny. Then you cut to Naota's ditching school. Mimi's dressed like a cat. But it turns out that Naota has cat ears. Do we see the cat ears in this? I think we do. Yeah. Like Mimi tackles him while she's taking a bunch of pics. And that reveals that this is where we actually see for the first time reveal Naota has cat ears. He's had these horns and stuff popping out of his head, and now he just has straight up cat ears. So let's see. Mamimi also mentions being happy. She was like, when I did the play as a kid, it sucked, but I was happy because my parents got to see me. And that's like, that foreshadows the end with Nina Mori. But it's tight storytelling. And what else? Yeah, so they're doing that. Then, meanwhile, Nina Mori goes and she sees Monchan, Kamon, Naota's dad, selling the zine to the Crystal Pepsi vendor or whatever. Because I don't think they're at his house. I think they're at that store. But yeah, and so I don't think she knows that's his dad, but she sees, oh, that's the guy that's writing the zine. But yeah, so we cut to Mamimi and Takun, and there's a reference to Doraemon. How do you say that? Doraemon, Doraemon, which is like a really old, popular, like uh, kitty kind of cartoon anime or something. I don't know. It's really popular. This isn't a good comparison, but it's kind of like Garfield in that he's just like a very popular kind of cartoon character that everyone knows. And I guess he's a cat too, also, I think, but he's like a robot cat. Doraemon's like this robot that he has like an internal compartment and he can pull anything out of his pocket or out of his compartment basically. And I think that's like a trope called hammer space. Anyway, all this anime stuff. Okay, so we cut to Nina Mori is now going to her house where there's like a bunch of media people gathered around the mayor's house. And she's just watching it happen. The secretary tries to come out of the manhole, but the press sees her. And then she escapes again. And then the secretary pops up by Nina Mori and is like, hey, and they talk to each other. And then the secretary disappears. And yeah, then there's this big, what do you call it? A scrum? Like, a big fight where it's like the big dirt with the fists coming out of it. There's like one of those, and you see a bunch of people popping out. They're anime people. But among those anime people are like black and white photos of just Japanese guys. And so it's like you have these characters in the fight, but then also just these heads popping up. They're like photorealistic heads, and that's fun. Let's see what else. So then Naota finds Nina Mori. She's, hanging around because she can't go home. And, she's trying to act tough, saying it's fine. And then Haruko shows up on her bike. She smashes Naota with her bike, and Naota flies into Nina Mori. It's this scene where, he's flying. We do this 360 pan around matrix kind of move, and it looks like they're about to kiss, but I don't think they do kiss. I think they just bang foreheads instead. And he gets knocked out. She finds out about his cat ears. She touches her cat ears, and Haruko's like, don't do that. And then her stomach hurts and she kind of passes out or something. She passes out, or she gets sick, and then Haruko's like, I told you not to touch it. Is that my fault? That's another one of those lines that like has always stuck in my head. And it's just really funny. And then I think, in terms of tracking things that are happening, like a lot of things that are happening are these like strong adolescent feelings seem to be the catalyst for all these events. In the first episode, it was Naota. The second episode, Mamimi kind of has this breakdown, but it comes out of Naota's head. But it's still like her emotions seem to be triggering the thing to come out of his head. And so I wonder if like there's some strong emotional reaction Nina Mori is having that's like spurring some of this stuff, and maybe that's why she gets sick or something, because she's having a hard time with her parents. I don't know what the idea is, but I'm trying to track like, if like adolescent feelings seem to consistently trigger robots, and I do think they do. I haven't let you talk in a while. You have any thoughts up to this point?
No, I really liked again how this sort of felt dreamlike though, where there's this kind of recurring feel of like, okay, I could see being a teenager being cast as a cat in a school play, not wanting to have that, and then dreaming that I had cat ears. It's
Mm-hmm.
like it's almost like subconscious thoughts are being manifested into reality.
Yeah.
And I love the way that the show is playing with that a little bit, and it's starting to feel like that's maybe extending to other characters as well, and they're falling back to like common anime tropes, but ones that make sense in this context. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of liked how that worked, and I especially liked when she was flying through the air and they bumped heads like we were talking about there. Of like, I could almost see that as a dream too, of like wanting to kiss the girl, but then at the very last second your foreheads smack into each other because nothing in your dream ever works out the way you want it to. And yeah, I really enjoyed this section of things here.
Yeah, have you heard the term like lurid details? Like I think like lurid details are like a big focus in this show. Like these heart-pounding intense moments of, of feeling in a lot of ways, either frustration, being overwhelmed, feeling like the walls are closing in, like you're not being understood, like no one's listening to you. Like so many, and it's all happening all at once, And I don't know if that's even the focus, or it's just like let's just do chaos. Let's have a lot of kooky characters being crazy, but it does like have the effect where it's like this, I don't know, like this big I want to use the word pastiche, and I'm sure that's not the right way, but this like pastiche of all these like insane, like scrapbooky moments almost, which I think is like, I don't know. It's great. It's a great show. Anyway, so they're eating dinner. They're eating spicy curry. Nina Mori is over for dinner. Conti is eating curry. He's the robot. And Nina Mori is like, what is that? Is that a robot? And they're like, no, that's our TV. And he finishes his curry and then he walks away and he's like, your TV walks? And it's like, well, it's a TV Walkman, which is like, that's like such a good fucking joke. And then she's like, oh, Sony, just like, because that is like a TV Walkman is presumably like a real product. But yeah, she's in denial. She's like, oh, it's fine. Or maybe it is fine. I don't know. But she's every time anyone talks about this drama, she's acting tough. Kamon seems to feel guilty because like Nina Mori's here and he's put her in this spot, and isn't that weird? And she knows that he's the one that did it, and so is she mad at him? And so like he's kind of navigating that a little bit. But yeah, then we cut to she's taking a bath at his house and we're hearing fucking the dad talking to her from outside, which is weird. But she's like, are you mad at me and stuff? And she's like, oh, I'm glad that happened. It got rid of that secretary, which I think establishes, oh, this was like an affair between them. And I'm glad that happened. Yeah, he hands her, this is like a Japanese trope. It's a shampoo mask. You put it above your forehead and you put your hair on top of it and it keeps the soap out of your eyes. It's like a trope of childhood. When adults are trying to show children or younger characters that they view them as children, this object often is invoked because Japanese also has this parental bathing thing, so usually the parent is the one washing the kid's hair when that thing is being used. Like by the time a kid can wash their own hair, they probably don't need that thing. So it symbolizes a parent giving care to the son, or to the child. So like it is maybe the dad being a little bit fatherly, like in an earnest way. It's hard to tell because he's a fucking pervert. So it's like, is he just being gross or is he like actually being kind of like authentic? Who knows? But we cut to she's in his room. She's wearing his pajamas, which that's another Japanese trope. I think it's supposed to be a little like horny or whatever. Let's see. There's this bit where he throws her a drink, and when she catches it, you can see like a spot open up in the pajamas between their buttons where we could see like the spot between her breasts. Like we could see the chest, not like a titty or anything, but you could see her skin. And I think that's definitely supposed to be like, ooh, there's this, there's a word in Japanese called ecchi, ECCHI, I believe. And it just means kind of like pervy, horny stuff, like titillating kind of like swimsuit model level kind of stuff, not like porn, but and so like there's a lot of ecchi stuff in this anime. And I think like that's I think still with this like adolescent kind of thing. Let's see. So I think in this scene, she's talking to Naota a lot. She's kind of getting closer to him. She's like crawling towards him on the bed, and I think we get the sense that she's into him. She rigged the vote so that he would be Puss in Boots. And that's part of why she's so mad he's not going to the play. And so, he's kind of blowing her off and they can't be together or whatever. But also, the reason she cares so much is that she wants, like, her parents are going to be at the show, let's see. The show that they're doing is called Puss in Boots. Haruko heard that whole conversation and she's like being catty about it. We see the same shot, her same reaction shot like 4 times. We just see her back and we see her smile, and it's, what do you call that? Money saving shots. That's fun. But yeah. Then we're at school. Haruka shows up to school and kisses Naota on the mouth, and she gives him lunch, which is curry. And Nina Mori watches that, and everybody's like reacting to that. The perv kid's like, "Did she put her tongue in? Smooch, smooch." Naota tries to walk out again. Oh, this is when it happens. Yeah, they're arguing. Naota doesn't want to do it. Naota never wants to do anything. Naota doesn't like being treated like a kid, and he says that. And I think that's part. Like, I think he thinks people are treating him like a kid. and he's constantly like being a brat because of that. But I don't know that they are treating him like a kid most of the time. I think they're just treating him like normal, and because he's like a whiny bitch, he's interpreting that way. But I think we, the audience, are supposed to see like that's his issue, is he can't think about things outside of being treated like a kid when that's not anyone else's baggage. That's just his baggage. And so, yeah, she's like, but my parents are going to see the play. Then we see his cat ears. He reveals that she cheated to get the lead role, and then the robot comes out. So I think, now Nia Mori has been caught out. Her perfect image as the class rep has been betrayed. Now she's a cheater who is cheating to get him in the thing. So I think that's why she triggers her feelings or whatever. And then the robot comes out of her head. The ears stop being on Naota and pop out of her, and then the ears turn into a claw. There's a giant tripod monster. And yeah, there's a big fight. The robot eats the curry, and then it has to take a shit. And it's like, where's the bathroom? And Haruko's like, it's over there. And it runs off the edge of the building because it thinks the bathroom's off the edge of the building. And it falls off the edge of the building. And then Conti shoots it with a gun. It dies. There's this part where the claw is like using her as a weapon, and it's using her legs to like stab, and it's attacking Conti, and like her underwear come off. It's not her underwear, it's bloomers, which are girls' PE uniforms in Japan anime, are basically the bottoms of swimsuits, and they're called bloomers. I don't know. That's just what they are. And her underwear comes off, and so Conti's like trying to hold the underwear to put her legs back in them. And that's just funny. Yeah, I don't know. Haruka says ukulele no good, which that's another one of those lines that is stuck in my head forever. Yeah. And then it turns out the parents don't get divorced. There's the play. It's good. The glasses are fake. I don't know. It kind of ends there. Other thoughts about that episode? I got to get through the next one faster.
It was crazy. I mean, I love the pace this went in. I love the fact that while there was a lot of nonsense, nothing seemed unnecessary. Like everything built the story in some way or another, and everything felt good to watch, even when it was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like this one. I think this one's one of my favorites. I think Neo Nomori is a pretty cool character. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. So let's see if we can get through episode 4 faster. Episode 4 is about this new guy shows up. He's associated with the government. He's kind of snooping around. He seems to know who Haruko is. Meanwhile, a satellite has come down from space and is going to destroy their city if nothing is done about it. So that's kind of the issue. The theme kind of revolves around how Takun isn't willing to swing the bat, which I think that's what we've seen is he's mostly just rejecting things, saying, don't treat me like a kid, but really he's just, scared of living life, which is kind of Shinji-ish. But yeah, they start off, Haruka is winning in baseball. She's beating everybody. Baseball episode is a classic Japanese anime trope, Kevin. There's often baseball episodes in animes. The baseball episodes are actually often more baseball focused than this episode. It's maybe just the whole episode is just one game of baseball, and that's like it. But classic trope. They're losing. The baseball team is Tasku's old team, which that's Naoto's brother. They mentioned that there's nothing they can do now that Tasku is gone. And they also mentioned that Tasku left at the same time that Medical Mechanica showed up. So I don't know if that's a coincidence or whatever. But it turns out Conti's good at baseball. So they're like, let's get Conti to beat Haruko. They mentioned nothing can happen until you swing the bat, which it doesn't really make any sense, but that's like the episode theme. They go back home. The dad is being pervy with Haruko. He's like massaging her with his chin. He's like giving her a vibrating chin massage, which is fun. And, Naota isn't having a good time with that. We see this shot that the dad is plugged into an outlet. And then we also see these recurring shots of the electric meter going around and around and around, indicating that they're using a lot of electricity. Do you have any thoughts on that, Kevin?
Yeah, a lot of this seems like they're taking anime tropes and almost poking fun at them. Like the baseball thing. In the last episode, the one where like her shorts came off and like the robots they're fighting to put it back on rather than showing the titillating thing that they might have otherwise done, and things like so. A lot of these beats feel like, hey, we're going to make you think we're going to do this, but instead we're going to pull the rug out from underneath of it. And this episode was a lot of fun for me for that reason. Even though I'm not super familiar with all of these, I could still get the sense that hey, we're taking this thing that you're supposed to recognize and we're twisting it a little bit, and that felt good to watch.
I think that's right. I think that this show is somewhat a love letter to like anime styles and animation and tropes and stuff. And also it's poking fun and reinventing it. It's like it's saying like, oh, we're doing it too, but isn't it weird when does this? We're doing it a little bit differently. It's like one of those new LA restaurants that serves small plates. They're like, we do it a little differently. It doesn't make sense. Cut it out of the episode, Kevin. Okay.
That's a good reference. I like that. No.
No. So someone will. Okay, so now it's jealous. The dad's acting weird. We see that new guy. His name is Eyebrows. I think he talks to Naota about Haruko. Yeah, he has these big eyebrows. Then Naota goes back and they're making like sex noises, now Haruko and the dad. Let's see. I think he's with Mamimi at a point, and she mentions leaving her mark again, which I think is giving him a hickey. Yeah. So then we cut to him outside at the nighttime. He's mad at Haruko and facing Haruko. And then she's like, we're in it together, kid, or whatever. And she drops his head. Like she drops his dad's head, like his severed head. And then he cuts. And this is like a reality breakdown part because it cuts to another thing. And then there's no head. And then it cuts to like Naota's holding the head. And then it cuts to like Haruko and she's over there, but then Naota's over there, or the dad is too. And it's like every time we cut, like reality's breaking, and it's like none of this is like literally happening, but it's like in the vibes. It's like, is there something weird happening? I don't know. And she's talking about swinging the bat. Let's see. Oh, and then she's like giving him batting practice. It's like in Ghost, she puts her arms around him and he's swinging the bat and they point up to the star. And then we cut to some sort of government command center where we see Eyebrows and they're like, there's a spaceship approaching. It has an impact. It's a satellite. It's doing its pre-programmed attack. Meanwhile, Eyebrows is dissecting the super spicy curry bread that he got from the shop when he was talking to Naota. And he doesn't like spicy things, Kevin. And Naota also doesn't like spicy things. Isn't that interesting?
That is, and I was hoping that's going to go somewhere because that seemed very relevant.
Oh, it will, I think. I mean, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, so he's doing that, and then his first mate or whatever, like his captain, this kind of like darker skinned blonde lady, she's like, those eyebrows, like she doesn't like his eyebrows either. No one likes this guy's eyebrows. So yeah, let's see. Oh, also his eyebrows look like nori, which are those, strips of seaweed that are used in sushi. Yeah, so Naruto comes back to his room. Haruko is not in there, even though she's always in his room. He hears them fooling around. They're like referencing that he can't get hard, and she's like, "There's this layer," which is like a reference to foreskin, which a lot of anime anime porn, I should say, references like foreskins. It's like a big deal. I don't know. But yeah, and then we see the electric meter again. Then later we see Naota like coming home. He looks and sees we see his dad dead on the floor with like blood spilling out of his head. And then we cut to him talking to his dad. And so like that's like we see that happen and then we cut back in time basically. And then he gets in an argument with his dad. His dad's acting all fucked up and weird and he smashes him with the head. And his dad's basically a robot. So he hits this robot dad in the head. And that's why it was plugged in or whatever. He hits the robot on his head. Yeah. Then we see, when he's talking to his dad, we see his dad actually has a hickey when he's talking about Haruko. And that's part of the stuff while Naota's going crazy. Because like Naota's going crazy and then he hits the guy in the head. And then the electric meter stops. Then they're still playing baseball. There's a state of emergency. There's like a blimp being like, everything's bad. Naota gets interrogated about killing his dad. He's in denial. He's like, I didn't do it. And then, what do you call it? Eyebrows is like fighting your father about a woman you know nothing about. Do you like her swing? And they're just talking about it. You're getting more of what's going on here. He mentions that she's involved with the Space Pirate Brotherhood and the Pirate Lord Atomisk. And I think she's mentioned being a space pirate before. So I guess we're taking this to be true, is that she's a space pirate of some sort, which explains why she's an alien. And then And so he's like free to go, and Naoto's like leaving, and Naoto's like, those eyebrows. And he's like, what about eyebrows? It says everybody hates this guy's eyebrows. Um, Naoto comes home. He sees his dad rotting in a closet. And but his dad's not dead because he rehydrates him by putting him in the water, and his dad comes back to life. And his dad's like, I was dead for a while. And it's not clear exactly what happened, but it's like, I guess Haruko maybe killed him or something. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on what you think happened there?
I don't know. I mean, I felt like almost that he felt like he was like dreaming, not dreaming that so much, but like daydreaming that something happened and then got snapped back into reality, kind of.
Yeah, like maybe
Um,
he was under her spell. Go ahead.
yeah, but I wasn't really sure what was going on there, but it was fun to watch.
Yeah, I feel like in my head, I was like, his dad is just dead. Like, I don't remember his dad coming back to life. Like, in my head, I was like, yeah, his dad turns out to be dead, and then the show keeps going on. And then I was like, wait, actually, that would be crazy if that's what happened. But it's like, no, it doesn't. It comes back. But yeah, so I don't really know what the deal with that is. Write in if you have an answer. But yeah, the eyebrows mentions that NO, which is NO is like I don't know. It's kind of like saying AT field or something. NO is this sci-fi concept. So NO uses the right and left brain's thought processes to create an interdimensional channel. And that's what's happening to Naota, is Haruko is somehow creating this interdimensional channel to pull shit out of his head. And then also he mentions that the dad was a high-tech mannequin. It was like a robot. They talk about swinging the bat. They're talking about hitting one more out of the park. Um, and then Haruko said, like, I think Naota's like, what are you to Haruko? And she's like, I'm an illusion, a manifestation of the feelings in your adolescent heart, which is like, yeah, that's like what this show is about, you know? And then they mentioned that Haruko's plan is to penetrate the foreign embassy in medical mechanica. So I think that's what her deal is. She's this pirate who's trying to penetrate the foreign embassy in medical mechanica. Anyway, he's trying to swing the bat or whatever. They go to the top. She pulls a guitar out of his head. Um, then she pulls a guitar out of his head, and it's really horny because we cut back to the foreign embassy, and everyone is having nosebleeds over watching that happen because they're like, "Wow, what a sexy thing this just happened." And then their nosebleeds are all plugged up with tissues. But yeah, so they leave now to swing the bat to hit this meteor with the guitar, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And he eventually hits the meteor with the guitar, but it's not enough, and so Haruto comes in and she hits it with her guitar, and then that actually finishes the job and knocks the thing back into space. And also, the satellite is a baseball. Isn't that fun?
Yes, confusing, but yes.
Yeah. Then we cut to Mimi is like, oh, I guess he swung the bat. And she's really sad. She's like really despondent over the idea that Takuna swung the bat. And I think we're supposed to be like, maybe that's what happened with Tosku too, is like Tosku, like he grew up and drifted away from Mimi and she felt isolated. And so now she's seeing like, oh shit, is this happening to Naota? I don't know if this is like a thing that's like a plot that happens in the episode, but that's something that I'm kind of tracking is like, what's Mimi's deal? But that's kind of my takeaway there. And then one of Eyebrows' eyebrows falls off, and it's like it is just a piece of nori. He sticks seaweed to his head because he doesn't have eyebrows, I guess. What do you think?
So, okay, maybe I'm only seeing it this way because my only other comparison in anime is Eva, but this episode felt like an Eva parody
I agree.
because at the beginning he seemed like Shinji, where he just didn't want to do anything. Everyone's like, "Come on, Shinji, do it, hit the bat," and he wouldn't do it. Um, and I want to say Haruko seemed a lot like Ashtra there in several places. The satellite coming in looked like an angel at a few points.
Hmm.
Eyebrows guy, when he was at the control center, looked like Nerve HQ. And there
Yeah.
actually were a few places when you saw like computer text scrolling by, the letters
Hmm.
NGE appeared a bunch of times in that.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's awesome.
Um, so I don't know if it was intentionally supposed to be directly parodying Eva, or if it's just there was a lot of overlap because it's a similar idea. But this felt so much like, hey, we're gonna like lean on Eva a little bit in this, but we're totally gonna make fun of it and almost like break it apart, tear it down, deconstruct it
Yeah.
into funny bits. But again, that may be just me.
I think that's a great take. I mean, it's their own studio. It's totally fair. I think like, glasses guy or eyebrows has like these golden kind of sunglasses that are the same shape as Gendo. And yeah, when he's in that thing, he's like Gendo, his first mate or his lieutenant or whatever. That's a lot like what's her face? Purple hair. She's great. I can't remember her name, but there's too many names. Too many names. But yeah, I think I'm sure if someone knew like every anime and they watched this, they would just be nonstop being like this, that, this, that, this, that. Like I think that's probably part of the intention, but it's awesome. So that's that one. Any final thoughts? I really like this one a lot too. These episodes these were both really good. I'm sure the last two are good too, but these are maybe my favorite. They're all good. It's all good. It's just 6 episodes. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's going to be a whole lot happening next to somehow wrap this up. Um, but I really like a lot of the metaphors that become apparent now too, like I don't know. Naota seems almost like he's a kid that's looking down at the adults for being more immature than he is. Like he's trying to be a grown up, and like his dad is being an obvious child. Like everybody around him is being childish when he's trying to be as mature as he possibly can. You know, and it feels like he's really growing up here because I think there's some imagery that maybe I'm reading way too much into, but like, he's always carrying around his brother's baseball bat, but never actually using it, never actually even playing baseball that we see until this episode. So it seems like he's taking these steps to be more like him, more like his older brother, more mature, but he's being held back by everybody around him just being absolute bonkers.
Yeah.
Um,
Go ahead. Sorry.
But that's sort of the appeal of it is that like there's so much crazy stuff happening and he's sort of like the one character that you kind of can empathize with because you're as confused as he is as to what's going on around him.
Yeah. I think that's really right. I think part of growing up, being a teen, all this adolescent stuff is being like, the adults are lying. It's all bullshit. They're just as bad as us. They're even worse because they're pretending to not be us. Like the lies of the adults and the establishment and how nothing makes sense, man. It's all a game. Like I think that is like a huge part of adolescence. And that's a big part of what Naota is. And every adult around him is a child, like literal, like they're all babies. Like there's no one, even the grandpa's like fucked up, like everyone's fucked up. So he's not wrong, but that's the thing is like, and I think I've certainly experienced this, and you probably have as well. But there's this like, but the adults are fucking stupid, and it's like, yes, child, but just because the adults are fucking stupid doesn't mean that you're an adult. It just means that you're a child that sees this truth. And those are very different things, but it can make you feel like an adult, but it doesn't mean you're an adult because you're still not developed. And I think Nauta's doing that too. And Steven Universe has these the main characters of Steven Universe are based on parts of the psychological development of a child where I don't know the terms, but I want to say it's like group dependent, counter dependent, independent, or I think it's like dependent, then group dependent, then counter dependent, then independent, or something like that. Whereas like a baby, it relies, it is completely dependent on others. And then as it develops, it becomes like, oh, I understand structure. I'm going to be part of this structure. I know structure. I can label structure. And that's like you're learning. You're like a toddler learning. And then you start to get to this like adolescent rebellion phase. And it's where you start to define yourself oppositionally. It's like, I'm not this group. I am apart from it, and then eventually you become a fully formed person who is capable of, providing for others in a relationship and is healthy alone without the nurturing of a group as well, and I think Amethyst in Steven Universe represents this like this counter dependent or whatever, this rebellious phase. And I think Naota is very much that. And I think this show is that. It's this rebellious age where like the adults, nothing makes sense. It's all a lie. It's all bullshit, man. Anyway. Oh, okay. We should talk about One Piece. Do you have any final thoughts before we move to One Piece?
No, I'm so glad we're watching this though, because this is so much crazier and more entertaining than I ever thought this was going to be,
Hell yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good one. It's good. It's been fun watching again. I'm like, yeah, this really is good. Okay, so now it's time for 1 million little pieces, a story of One Piece told one piece at a time. Um, I don't I don't know how to give a recap on what's been happening up till the story so far, but I found a TikTok that does a really good job of summarizing all of One Piece, or all of like the first ton of One Piece. And I didn't want to give Kevin spoilers, so I cut it. I cut the video just at the point we are at the story. And so I want to say it's like a 16-second clip that if you watch this on YouTube, you could watch the clip. Otherwise, I guess you'll just listen to it or whatever. Do you have that clip, Kevin?
Yes, here we go.
So this is what happened. So that makes sense, right?
Um, it makes about as much sense as your summaries of One Piece, yes.
Exactly. So the story of One Piece, I'll just recap that recap. But Luffy is a kid. He's being raised by red-haired Shanks. Luffy eats the devil fruit, which freaks out red-haired Shanks because he was like, that was my treasure. And then Luffy almost gets eaten by a sea serpent, and red-haired Shanks saves him, but he loses his arm in the process. Red-haired Shanks gets his arm bitten off by a sea monster. Luffy grows up. He goes to be a pirate. He meets Zolo. He meets Usopp. He meets Nami. He meets Sanji. And they team up. They beat guys, and they're on a group, and now they're together. And Sanji just joined the team. Sanji is a chef who likes to kick people. That was the last thing we talked about, was Sanji joins the team, and he's a chef that likes to kick people. And so, yeah. Are you ready, Kevin? Are you caught up? Do you have any questions about what's happened up till this point?
I don't think I could ask an intelligent question if my life depended on it right now. So yes,
Okay.
I'm ready for more.
All right. So again, the One Piece guys, they're pirates. Luffy, he's stretchy. He's a rubber man. He can stretch his limbs, etc. All right. So we just found out Sanji had just joined the team. But you know what just happened after that? There's no rest for the weary, I'm afraid, Kevin, because Nami, the pirate hater who joined the pirates, the person who's famous for robbing pirates blind, she steals their boat and runs away. So she was on the team, but she steals their boat and runs away. And they're like, what the fuck? And, Nami is literally a thief that hates pirates and only steals from pirates. So, it does all make sense that happened. They figure out that she's going to a place called Arlong Park. And we learn about the 7 warlords of the sea, who are these powerful pirates who rule the seas. The Marines basically own the world. But to save manpower, the Marines just let certain pirates roam the seas because they kind of take care of the weaker pirates. So the kind of Marines let some of these pirates, the 7 warlords, just do whatever they want. Also, the Marines probably have a hard time stopping them, so that's part of it too. But yeah, so we learn about the 7 warlords of the seas, and this guy named Arlong, who's a fish man. It's like a mermaid but backwards. He's one of the 7 warlords of the sea, and that's where Nami's going. So they go find Nami, or they go towards Nami, and they go to this island. Zoro goes after Nami, and she's at Arlong Park, and she's with Arlong's crew, and he's like, are you on their team? And she's like, yeah, I'm on their team. And he's like, I don't believe you. And she's like, you got to believe me. I'm a bad guy. And he's like, I don't think you'd let me die. I think if you were a bad guy, you wouldn't let me die, but you wouldn't let me die. Or you would let me die, but you wouldn't, right? And so he jumps into the ocean to kill himself, thinking that she'll save him because she's a good person. So she does save him because she is a good person, I guess. But then she beats the shit out of him to prove that she's still a bad guy. And then let's see what else happens. Oh, the other guys who aren't Zoro, they go to a nearby village, and it turns out that Arlong is like doing a protection racket. He's like charging them tons of money, otherwise he'll kill them. So yeah, he's kind of menacing this town, and then Nami's over at Arlong Park. Let's see. Arlong shows up at that village, and he's like menacing everybody. He's like, do you guys have my money or whatever, whatever. And then Nami shows up, and everyone's like, look, there's Nami. She sold us out to Arlong. She was one of us, but she betrayed us to Arlong. She's on their side. And, she's like, oh, that's sad. But then later she's like, hey, I almost have all the money to buy our village back from Arlong. And that's why she's stealing the money, Kevin, because she wants to buy her village's safety. And that's why she joined Arlong, Kevin, to save her village from him.
Okay.
Isn't that
that's
so
like
crazy?
a double twist. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, turns out Zoro's in prison because he got locked up after getting beaten up. But Zoro breaks out. and Zoro shows up everybody towards everybody. Arlong tries to kill a person, but Usopp, who's a coward, Usopp is this guy. His deal is being a coward. He's like, I'll save you, and then doesn't save you. But Usopp tries to save someone, and then Usopp is going to be executed for trying to save the person, and then not. It's the same thing again, where Usopp's like, Nami, save me, and Nami's like, no, I'll kill you because I'm a bad guy, and she throws him into the ocean. And then Luffy shows up. She wants to save Nami, but Nami's like, I'm not a person who needs to be saved. I'm a bad guy. And then Usopp shows up and he's like, Usopp, I didn't get killed. Nami saved me because she's actually a good guy all along. And then we learn Nami's backstory. It turns out that when they were all kids, Nami and this other character were being raised by a foster mother. And Arlong shows up and it's like, it's going to cost 50,000 for the children to stay alive or 100,000 for you to stay alive. And the lady, she's like, I'll save the children and I will die instead. And so Arlong kills them and spares the children. And that's why that's so sad, Kevin. That's why this all happened. And Nami cuts a deal with Arlong. I'll join your team as long as you let me buy my village's safety someday for $100 million. And so that's why she's on Arlong's team, Kevin. Then there's like, and then they're like, it's time to fight. Luffy shows up. They're all fighting. Sanji kicks a guy. Zoro stabs a guy. Usopp's fighting a guy. He lights the guy on fire. Usopp's fights are funny because he's not good at fighting, Kevin. And so the other guys are like, I'm ready for a fight. And he's like, I don't want to fight. I'm going to run away. And he usually just runs away and does tricks and stuff. And so that's what happens. He lights the guy. He covers the guy in alcohol. He lights him on fire. And then while he's like, I'm on fire, he just smashes him in the head over and over and over with a hammer until he gets knocked out. So that's what happens. Then, what else? Then Luffy is like taken out of commission. He gets like thrown in the ocean. It turns out the devil fruit users can't use their powers when they're in the ocean. They can't swim either. So like, it's like, oh no, Luffy's out of the fight. And then they save Luffy. And now Luffy's ready to fight the final boss. Luffy and Arlong start fighting. Arlong's a fish man. Fishmen are super strong. They have super sharp teeth. And Arlong starts pulling his teeth out. Now he's holding his teeth in his hands, Kevin, like this. He's doing sharp. And he's like, I'm going to bite you. I'm going to bite you. And then Luffy's like, I can do that too. And Luffy grabs his teeth and puts them in his mouth. And so now Luffy's like biting really sharp teeth. It's this weird fucking thing because like that's Arlong's attack style is he uses his teeth and he spins around and stuff. Anyway, they start fighting in this navigation tower and it's like I used to keep Nami trapped up here and I made her do all these maps for me and that's why she's on my side and Nami's so useful. And Luffy's like, that's bad that you kept her trapped. I'm going to destroy this place. And he just destroys the whole fucking building and kills Arlong or knocks him out or whatever. And then they win the fight. And then they're like, we saved you, Nami, and we saved the village, and we saved everybody, and then the village is free, and now, Nami, you don't have to be on Arlong's team, and now you can join me. And then they're getting ready to leave, and Nami's not there, and they're like, oh, I thought Nami was going to come with us. She was on our team. I guess she's a bad person after all. And then Nami's like, wait for me. And she runs after him, and she's like, I'm coming with you guys. And they're all like, oh, goodbye, Nami. Thanks for saving us. You saved us. You were a good person after all, and not a bad person like I thought. Wait a second. Where's my wallet? Oh man, Kevin, Nami stole everyone's wallets. And so now everyone's sailing away. The village has their wallets stolen. But now we have Nami's back on the team. She's not a bad guy. She's a good guy after all. And now, we're on the ocean. We're a pirate team. That's that part.
That was a lot.
It's
so
all
many
a lot.
Things happened there.
I think I could have summarized it better. I think I got a bit too micro there. But hey, that's what happens when you tell a story in a million little pieces. Just fade out.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the end of the show. Check us out on YouTube if you want. You can watch the video clip we posted. Watch the intro sequence if you haven't seen it. Next week will just be normal show, I think. I think maybe I'll have enough life to talk about. What about you, Kevin?
Yeah, just check us out on shophomevideo.com on Sundays and subscribe on YouTube, watch on Spotify, watch wherever you want.
Yeah. All right. So until next time, it's time for another lesson from Spenpai, delivered by did I say that Spenpai did a pre-record? I can't remember if I said that or that was a thought I thought and then didn't say. I'm just okay. Spenpai can't do it, so I'm gonna give the lesson. So today's hey kids, today's lesson is about sexual harassment. Did you know that if there's a problem at your workplace, you might be forced to take mandatory training programs, and you can't come to work and record intro and outro segments for the podcast? Goodbye.